It's the little things that will get them to actually take action. And remember, when they take action, they get results. And when they get results, they tell others. And then also when they get results, they buy more of your stuff, right? And it goes back to that profitability piece we talked about in training 1. How are entrepreneurs like us daring bravely to build a stage, ditch the sweatpants, and step up to the mic? How do we create our own transformative events so we can get our message out into the world in a bigger way that's not only profitable, but it's actually something we can be proud of? That's the question. And the answers are inside this podcast. My name is Sarah Pfeiffer. Welcome to Green Room Central. Welcome to the Green Room Central podcast. I've got something special for you over the next 5 weeks. Each Monday, you're going to receive another training that's part of my 5-part challenge, the Virtual Event Lab. It's a training program developed to help you scale your business by leveraging virtual events. And today you're listening to part 3. Now, I want to make sure you know that I'm referencing some frameworks that I've drawn on some note cards, super fancy ones, and some worksheets for you to complete. If you want those resources, then I want you to hop into your members area for free access. Just go to greenroomcentral.com and look for the button that says Virtual Event Lab. I want you to grab your notebook and a pen and let's dive in. Hey there, it's Sarah Pfeiffer, the events expert, and welcome back to training 3 of the Virtual Event Lab. Today you're going to discover how to turn your topic into actionable curriculum so that your guests walk away feeling energized and empowered and committed to transformation. We'll be talking about the 3 building blocks to virtual events, agendas that spark action. You'll learn how to seed the offer, you'll learn how to design the experience, and you'll learn teaching fundamentals. We are smack dab in the middle of the virtual event planning pyramid. So if you want to picture a pyramid and it's got 5 rungs, if you will, we're in the middle. Make it actionable. I think you're going to love today's content. Make it actionable is kind of like the keystone, I think. It's so important because you're the subject matter expert. Your unique blend of personality and perspective and knowledge is the value that you add to your topic. It makes you, as a teacher, a leader, an expert, an author, or coach, makes something special. And so you speak in a way that someone needs to hear. You teach the way someone needs to learn. Let that sink in. I'm going to repeat it. This is something for you to write down. You teach the way someone needs to learn. You speak the way someone needs to hear. Do not discount the absolute fact that you are the person that will spark the transformation someone is so desperately seeking right now. You already see that in your other products and programs, right? And I think deep down, you know, if you gathered your community together live in a virtual setting, you'd be able to go even deeper with them. And because of that fact, I need you to hear me well in this lesson today. When you frame what you're going to teach in a way that's easily digestible and actionable and understandable, your students will take action. And when they take action, they feel amazing. And when they take action, they get results. And when they get results, they tell their friends. And then when they tell their friends, your impact, your service in the world, it expands. And so it is imperative that you listen up today, that you take notes. The service and the impact and the reach that you want to have during your time on this earth hinges on you teaching in a way that your event guests will learn. Do you follow? Excellent. Now, I want you to know that where I see live event leaders struggling here is that they decide this isn't important, that this level of detail doesn't matter, or that it's too hard, and so why even try? And I think that's a mistake to think like that because all your students, they learn differently. someone needs to see it, and someone needs to do it, and someone needs to hear it. There's a lot of learning styles, and it's important to teach to all of them. And the cool thing, it is easier to achieve that than most people think. And the other thing is that most things you teach are simple. What's hard is the mindset. I'll say that again. What we're teaching is simple. What's hard is the mindset. There are some really simple but super important bookends, and I like to, that's kind of what I like to call them, that we can wrap our content in that really help with your guest's mindset so that they actually do what they say they want coming out of your event. I have to tell you that when you frame your topic in that way that I'm going to teach you today, you're going to feel amazing. My flagship online course, Live Event Academy, has 2 years. It was 2 years of me pulling my expertise out of my brain and onto paper and into video and into tools. And I will be completely honest, it was not easy, but it was worth it. And the result is a product that I'm so darn proud of. It's a product that gets results. And sure, I could have saved myself a whole lot of time and struggle by skipping it, but over the long term, it would not have produced something that was memorable, nor as long-lasting, nor as transformative. And I followed the format that I'm going to teach you today. So you're going to walk away from training 3 of the virtual event lab with answers to big questions and some big work completed. You're going to know, 1, how to seed the offer. You're going to know, 2, how to design the experience. And most of all, you're going to know teaching fundamentals. The training that we're going to walk through together today here on training 3 on Make It Actionable. It's going to be the strategies that you need to create actionable content so that your tribe walks away ready to transform. Now, before we go any further today, I want to take a moment to just celebrate the fact that you're here. You're doing the work and you're in training 3, and not everyone makes it this far, seriously, but you're here. And so you're my kind of people. And you're a go-getter, and I love that. So I want you to do yourself a favor right now and get out your journal, turn off your distractions, close the door, download the digital workbook page, and prepare to take a lot of notes, and grab your pen. Let's go. So let's start with number 1, seeding the offer. So we're going to talk about building the agenda. If you're making an offer, and I think you should, remember we talked about that back in training number 1, make it profitable. Ideally, you create a sandwich. You deliver a ton of value, you make the offer, and then you deliver a ton more value. It works best in a 1-day format or a 3-day format. In a 1-day format, the sandwich would kind of get lost a little bit. You just do value, offer, close. In a 3-day format, you'd do a lot of value, and then you'd make your offer towards the end of day 2, and then close the morning of day 3, and then on to more value. In the value sections, I want you to be seeding the offer. And what do I mean by that? It means to be sharing content that shows the vision of where your guests want to go. Content that shows them what's possible. So things like case studies work really well. That could look like a live panel of success stories or even an awards ceremony. Making mention that there's more to learn and deeper levels of mastery works really well too. But all of those are essentially showing somebody what's possible and then allowing them to put themselves in that person's shoes as somewhere they want to be or aspire to get to. Do you follow? Like if someone is walking across the stage an awards ceremony, or you're highlighting them in the virtual event and giving them an award. Well, the onlooker guest is putting themselves in that person's shoes going, well, I want that too. I wish that was me getting honored and celebrated in front of the group. So that's what we want to do. Again, we're talking about seeding the offer, doing things like case studies, doing things like success stories, awards ceremonies, talking about other advanced programs that you have. All of those things work. So that's number one. That's seeding the offer, okay? And you're doing that throughout your content in those value section. Number two is designing the experience. So we talk a lot about this, huge amounts of detail in Live Event Academy. But what I want you to know here is that designing the experience is an equation. It's content, it's the environment, and that equals the experience. Content plus environment equals your experience. I want you to know that the majority of what I'm going to teach you applies just as much to in-person events as it does to virtual. I know this training is all about virtual events, but remember, virtual events are about 80% the same as in-person events. Know that you really need to pay attention to the experience that your guests are going through. What I love to suggest here is that you spend some time visualizing your guest journey throughout your virtual event. What does that look like from the moment they register till the moment your event ends and you follow up afterwards? What does that all look like? What does it look like when they log into the event? Who's greeting them in the chat? What are they hearing? Do they have anything tangible from you on their desk that they can touch and feel and hold during the virtual experience? What are they learning? What are they discussing with the other guests? It's all part of that content plus environment equals experience. Environment's a little bit different in virtual because we're talking about what's the tech gonna look and feel like? How are they gonna interact with that? What's the touch? This is where we have to get creative. Are we gonna deliver them gift cards so they can go do DoorDash during the virtual event and have their meals delivered? Are you gonna send them some swag boxes with do not open labels on, like the wrapped contents? I know that some people love to send swag boxes with individually wrapped items inside, and then you kind of call on people to unwrap a specific item at specific points within the event. One of them could even be the offer envelope. That is designing the experience. Really, and my best tip for you there is to just walk that journey that your guest is taking, to sit down with your team and just have a brainstorming session about that. And then third, in that designing the experience part, is how do you virtualize your favorite things from in-person events? And I think we've seen the gamut run over the last couple of years, right? From people sending out mini bonfire kits so that folks can have a campfire and a cocktail at the end of a long day. We've seen breakouts where we're allowing people to network and have kind of those hallway chats. But virtualizing your favorite things from in-person events or modeling your favorite things from virtual events that you've attended over the last few years, it's going to help you in your brainstorming about what you want that experience to be for your guests. And do not let thoughts like, that won't work, creep up in this brainstorming session, because we've seen it all in virtual events over the last couple years. And so whatever you have in mind is possible. There's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So spend time brainstorming in kind of like a no bad ideas kind of way and see what comes of it and get excited about the possibilities. All right, now we're going to move on to teaching fundamentals. Our third step we're talking about today within Make It Actionable. And this is where we're going to talk about curriculum design. Whether it's in person or virtual, you need to nail this. So let's figure out what it is. And it goes back to that whole bookend concept that I mentioned at the beginning. It's framing your content with certain pieces that really get at the mindset of your guests. Remember, we talked about how content is typically easy, but mindset's the hard stuff. This is where I want you to take notes. I'm going to give you some bookends that I think your content should always be framed with. And I'm going to back up for just a moment here. You're going to frame individual sessions with these bookends, and you can even frame days with these bookends, and then the event as a whole with these bookends. So it may sound like a lot of repetition, but it works, and your guests will appreciate it when you add these, because it's the little things that will get them to actually take action. And remember, when they take action, they get results. And when they get results, they tell others. And then also when they get results, they buy more of your stuff, right? And it goes back to that profitability piece we talked about in training 1. We're doing this to become profitable. And so when you have an offer at your event, if they're already seeing how they're in motion and taking action and getting results, so much more likely for them to take the next step with you when you invite them to invest in an offer during your event. These bookends that I'm talking about, lots of buildup. They're easier than you think. So first one, it's using stuff like cheerleading. Just cheering people on. Remember, I always talk about people want to feel seen, heard, and celebrated. And so how can you celebrate people throughout the training? You heard me do it today with you in this training. I cheered you on for showing up. And I want you to do the same for your guests. Don't underestimate the power of being the cheerleader that someone never had. Okay? It's also using stuff like do's and don'ts. Telling people, reminding people what to do, reminding people what the pitfalls are and not to do them. It's using case studies. People love stories. And so the more that you can dig into your arsenal of stories and share them as they relate to the topic at hand is important. If you're not already keeping a journal of story ideas, I want you to do it. There should be like on your phone in the notepad section, there should be one that's labeled stories, which is just the one-liner that will remind you what the story is. And the next time you're looking to build event content and you need some case studies in there to share examples to help cement the concept for folks, you've got a list. It's also positioning yourself as an expert, reminding people what you've come through so that they understand why what you're talking about is something they should listen to. It's giving people tools. Do they need a worksheet? Do they need a checklist? Do they need a process to follow? What is it? It's pointing out where people struggle and where their stumbling blocks might be. It's being clear about what you're going to accomplish to your time together and then reminding them what they need to do right after your session. I love to start with, okay, here's what you're going to learn, and then wrap up with, okay, this is what you learned, and then this is your next right action. Always end with that. So that's the bookends. And I'd love to hear how that landed for you and any questions that came up in cementing that concept for you. Again, drop them below this video if you're in the members area. If you're listening, then go drop me a DM on Instagram or go to greenroomcentral.com and click on the virtual event lab, get into your free members area, or click on Linchpin Nation and drop into the community and ask in there. And then if we're continuing to use that bookends concept, we just talked about the bookends. Now in the books, like the books between those bookends, while you're teaching the fundamentals, I want you to be mindful of the things that allow your message to be heard by everyone. This is what I call the fundamentals, because there are so many different learning styles. So incorporating things like metaphors. And a metaphor, it's where you go, it's kind of like. Anytime you can explain the concept and then say, it's kind of like this, and then show them in a comparison in a more everyday life scenario. It's imagery, it's using visuals, it's telling stories, it's sharing steps, it's sharing statistics, it's sharing frameworks. All that stuff gets at the different types of learners that there are. And I'll repeat that for those of you who are writing it down. Metaphors, imagery, stories, steps, statistics, and frameworks. I have to say, I killed myself on these things, the bookends and the books, we'll call it, while I built my flagship 7-week group program, Live Event Academy. And I spent 2 years, probably more time than I should have, if I'm being perfectly honest, making sure that I nailed that stuff and giving folks exactly what they need in the order that they need it and nothing more, because I really want people to walk away from that program knowing exactly how to start or scale profitable events in their businesses, or how to lead their team who's doing it for them, or to feel confident to hire it out. And I'm super proud of the result. I'm not telling you that to say that you need to take 2 years to build your virtual event. In fact, the exact opposite. You can be up and running with one of these in a few weeks or a few months, not years. So don't be like me and take 2 years. But I do want you to integrate what we just talked about when it comes to teaching fundamentals. They will make all the difference in how your virtual event content lands and is received. And I'll tell you, the students who have gone through Live Event Academy and say things like, oh my gosh, I loved your stories. And oh my gosh, I finally took action because all the steps were there. Your testimonials from your event will cement for you that the work was worth it when they kick off the transformation that they came to you seeking and when they buy more of your stuff. So now it's time to act. Your action step for today is to complete the Training 3 worksheet. So it is available for you to download from the download section right under or next to this video. Or again, if you're not already in your members area, dive in there, go to greenroomcentral.com, click on the link for the virtual event lab and get yourself on in the members area so you can download the tools. It'll help you turn your topic into actionable curriculum so that your guests will walk away feeling energized and empowered and committed to transformation. I want you to start by downloading that digital workbook page and then reading through the questions. Then spend 15 minutes brainstorming with your team and recording the answers on the worksheet. Now, as soon as this training is over, I want you to block that time on your calendar. And if you've got time now, do it now. And let's tie this all up in a bow. I think Training 3, you'll find that Training 3 of the Virtual Event Lab this challenge has been about making it actionable. You've learned how to see the offer. You have learned how to design the experience, and you have learned about teaching fundamentals. And you've got your action step to complete Training 3 of your digital workbook, and you're getting it done one step at a time. This is awesome, right? Now, I want to tell you that I don't want you to beat yourself up by thinking that everything that we just talked about today is fluff. That would be a mistake. Your guests all learn differently, and it is important that they get your message. Wouldn't you agree? Map it out. I want you to get sticky notes and I put them all over the wall in your office. If you're a visual person like me, or make a checklist of all the things that you need to cover in the general order that you want to cover them, and then just check them off as you go. Like that's my super secret, simple way for creating event content. That's what I do when I'm building content. Or if you already have a digital course, make each module its own block on your agenda. Go to town. Easy peasy. I think people get stuck in their heads over this content piece. Like they couldn't possibly fill a 3-day agenda all by themselves, and then they smush it full of guest speakers to hide behind. And you don't have to do that. It's all within you. Trust. Now, if you get stuck or get overwhelmed, I want you to reach out inside this live event leader community that you're now a part of and ask for help. Support is available to you. Either drop me a DM on Instagram at Sarah Pfeiffer, jump into your members area and drop a comment below this video, or jump into the live event or the Linchpin Nation community. It's free. Linchpin Nation community. Again, you can grab that at greenroomcentral.com. But support is available to you. But maybe you're the kind of person who needs to resort to a reset of a different kind. And I always love to fall back on a great meal. I know it sounds like this is coming out of left field, but I will tell you that I love organic whole foods, mostly plants. And I just work and think better after I fuel up with awesome ingredients and a little, if we're up to me, a little popcorn, dark chocolate, and kombucha wouldn't hurt anyone, right? That would be the perfect end to a perfect day. So I say that because maybe if you're stuck, you just need to kind of set your content aside and go reset with the favorite meal of your choice. I think we need to have all kinds of tools in our toolkits when we're working on hard things. And for me, one of them is a meal. A good one. I really love good food. So I just wanted to bring that up as a suggestion for you in case it serves you. A few weeks ago, a friend and I were on a Zoom call and she told me that she had joined a new digital online program and she was working through all the curriculum. It had some independent online learning pieces and then some half-day virtual event mastermind pieces. And what she said next really bummed me out. She said, I'm confused by her training. I'm not getting what she's trying to teach me, and I'm not liking her content. And yes, as I mentioned, all this feedback really bummed me out. But the cool thing is, it's easily fixable with the strategies that we talked about today. With a little intention, it is possible to create actionable content that the various styles of learners in your community will hear. And when you wrap it in those bookends that we talked about, your learners will kind of get pulled through that curriculum that you create for them. It's kind of like a lifeline. So I say all that to encourage you that your content will not fall flat when you put a little intentionality around the bookends and then the books themselves, all the stuff we covered today. And it's not super time consuming. It's just setting the intention and doing it, checking the box. So before we wrap up today, I want to take one more moment to remind you about the tool that you've got at your disposal. Download that digital workbook page for this training. It'll give you a recap of what we covered here. It will remind you about your action step for this training, and it will guide you in your brainstorming with your team. I am so darn thrilled that you're here, that you've completed training 3 of the challenge. You're an action taker, and I absolutely love that. You're making huge strides towards turning your virtual event dreams into reality, and I don't want you to discount that. I look forward to seeing you in training 4. It's going to be all about mastering proven virtual engagement strategies so that your guests steer clear of distractions and stay actively learning your awesome content. This is such a popular topic amongst event leaders, and I don't want you to miss it. We're going to talk about some really cool stuff to keep shiny objects from distracting your guests, which is all too easy in the virtual event space. It's going to be a really fun training. Don't miss it. Please share your comments and questions in the chat below this video or in Linchpin Nation, or drop me a DM on Instagram at Sarah Pfeiffer. All those channels are there to support you. And don't forget that by asking a question, you are likely helping someone else within this live event leader community who may have the same question. You've got this. And I will meet you right back here for training number 4. Thank you for listening to this special Green Room Central podcast episode all about making your virtual event actionable. If you loved this episode, then please take a screenshot on your phone and post it to Instagram, and be sure to tag at Sarah Pfeiffer and let me know why you liked it and what you'd like to hear or who you'd like to hear from in the future. That'll help me know what to create for you. Also, if it's on your heart to host your first or next event in 2022 and you need a jumpstart, let's connect for a strategy session. Just go to greenroomcentral.com. In a 2-hour intensive private session, I can help you pivot, scale, or start your event vision from scratch. Together, we will build an actionable plan so that you feel confident and clear on your next steps. Go to greenroomcentral.com right now to sign up. Now, in case you're curious, this podcast is built on Kajabi. I'm loving how easy it's been to get things set up, but more so, I'm thrilled that my entire business is run within one platform. From my emails to my pages to my courses and also my podcast. It's all under one roof. If you love simplicity and scalability as much as I do, then go to greenroomcentral.com to get a free 14-day trial from Kajabi. I appreciate your commitment to leveling up and learning the mindset and strategy of live events. Keep going. Keep learning. If you want more, head over to greenroomcentral.com for show notes and all the links from today's episode.